I really wanted to explore what America was like in this 1950s futuristic Hey munchies, it's the Gamer Untamed, and this is definitely an overdue video, so I apologise, but I am finally going to give you today my review of Fallout 4, so I hope you enjoy it.
Settle down where pretty girls are. Well, you know that I'm around, 'cause I'm a wanderer. Yeah, a wanderer. I roam around, 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 around. Let it roam, let it go. Oh, yeah, I'm the type of guy that likes to roam around. I'm never in one place. I roam from town to town, 'cause I'm a wanderer.
Throughout my quests and exploits in the post-apocalyptic nuclear world of Fallout 4, I have encountered a realm of robotics, an entire city built within a sporting stadium, endless spine-chilling mannequins, a garden of corn, and the quaint and eerie town of Salem. Welcome to the Commonwealth, where in spite of your own character's personal conflicts as a 200-year-old sole survivor, everyone throughout Boston is seemingly awaiting and anticipating for your assistance, because apparently there aren't enough people in Boston to help everyone else. Bethesda used the setting of Boston, Massachusetts as the canvas for a dismal and sinister narrative of dark humour, authentic atmospheric 1950s music, wacky characters and companions, and a visual, ominous landscape. Fallout 4 is worth every ounce of its purchase price, regardless of the specific edition that you purchased. However, with Bethesda games comes many downfalls, and I'm afraid the AI haven't figured out how to not walk through walls or stand in doorways just yet. Please evade any stealth sequences, because you will die no matter what companion walks through laser beams. They just don't. They're stupid.
It's the war. War never changes.
War never changes. And if it is one thing that Bethesda have miraculously done is write the most iconic video game line. Trust me, in a decade, this line will be everywhere. It'll be used in books, in films, in other video games. It is absolutely my favourite line that I've ever heard from a video game, period. It is the year 2077, and the American dream of peace and prosperity has become nothing more than a distant memory. The cinematic inaugural sequence, which is quite unlike Bethesda, might I add, establishes how the world has evolved since World War II, which has led to political and military carnage. Bethesda unexpectedly addresses how greed for supremacy and power doesn't just affect one individual or one nation, but can cause a domino effect. The game opens into a 1950s-esque 21st century style of Boston in the United States, where you as the player have the opportunity to embody either the role of the wife or the husband in your quaint, law-abiding family. The introductory portion of the game's narrative is charmingly constructed, which allows you to interact with your spouse and your infant child, engage in a brief conversation with Cogsworth, your handy robot, and catch a glimpse at how America was prior to the nuclear blast. I desperately wished that this introductory scene lasted longer than it did. I wish I was able to explore this 1950s, 21st century style of America, because there would be no other instance when Bethesda would allow us to do such again. However, the pleasantries definitely do not last for long when you're forced to evacuate your family from the town of Sanctuary Hills and seek asylum in Vault 111. Essentially, excuse my lack of a better description, you spend 200 years in a cryogenic state, and if that is not enough, your partner is murdered in front of you, and your son is kidnapped by some mysterious individuals that you don't know, and you are left, eventually, you go back to sleep again, but you are left in this foreign world alone. Well, that's dandy, isn't it? Of course, this definitely tops Bethesda's commitment to beginning Elder Scrolls games in prison, or in a prison-like setting, or, you know, almost dying, but I don't think it tops Fallout 3. I really enjoyed getting to experience life as a baby to when I was an adult in the vaults. That was pretty interesting. 20 hours of gameplay is not nearly enough time to navigate through this dense and authentic wasteland. You might as well strap a toilet to your ass because you're not going to want to go anywhere. Fallout 4 is not really a game of complexities or intricacies. In fact, if anything has really happened, the mechanics and player control have been oversimplified and basic. Nonetheless, you're going to want to spend a significant amount of time preparing yourself for this precarious world. At least 10 hours of my initial endeavours were spent establishing the settlement of Sanctuary, running irksome errands, crafting, and attempting to understand the wretched inventory system. I have never seen a worse inventory system. It is so bad. Like, there needs to be subcategories for every piece of clothing because there is so much stuff. Even in Elder Scrolls, the inventory wasn't that bad, really. Like, I could actually see it better, but on the Pip-Boy, everything is grainy. It makes it so much difficult to see. Sure, that you could use the excuse that it's immersion, but it's the same with the map. The local map sucks. Please fix this, Bethesda. Next time, I want to see a better inventory system with subcategories. Please. Once you do embark on your Fallout 4 expedition, you are going to find it incredibly difficult to remain faithful to completing one particular quest at a time. I mean, you can try really hard, but eventually you're going to get distracted either by exploring some awesome supermarket, or, you know, a place, or someone's going to come up to you, or you're going to find someone who needs assistance for God knows why. With so much ground to cover in the Boston area, eventually completing nuisance errand tasks from point A to point B is going to become too arduous. So what are you going to do? Roam. Unfortunately, there are other things that you must do, such as set up settlements, for no particular reason. What are we, Minecraft? Having to establish a base for people under your protection because of the Minutemen is the most wasteful, tacked on, and pointless component to the entire game. If you like Minecraft or The Sims, maybe you'll get some enjoyment out of, you know, building things, but for me, because I swear to God I'm slightly OCD, I want to make everything pretty, and that's impossible with a world that's absolutely broken. Sure, it gives a point to your junk tab, but that's just more inventory. I'm sick of the inventory. I don't want to see this. End of story. Aesthetically, the formation of the environments is authentic and convincing, with its derelict townships, dilapidating buildings, radioactive marshes, and mountainous moors. All the while I prefer postcard picture-perfect magical settings, Fallout 4 did manage to convince me that dilapidated and decaying environments can be just as beautiful. Returning supporters of the Fallout 4 series should know by now that Bethesda's aim is not to create a graphical marvel. This is especially evident for those playing on console. Yes, it is true that Fallout 4 does not mirror the quality of next-gen video games of 2015. However, that being said, on PC, the graphics are really breathtaking, surprisingly. Combat functions more or less the same, however, it is more aligned with that of an action shooter. The VAT system has undergone redevelopment with alterations to the time system, in the way that it doesn't actually stop time, it merely slows it down, which only adds to the adrenaline rush and tension in the heat of a battle. Stereotypically, I loathe crafting weapons and armor, aside from within action games because their dynamic is generally simpler and easier. Thankfully, Bethesda have made Fallout 4's crafting system very simple for amateur crafters to understand and comprehend. I absolutely loved the customization because it was actually beneficial to the game's narrative. Now, while they did achieve minimalism for one component, again, the dreadful interface of the inventory is so bad that it needs to be fixed now. Like, I actually would prefer Bethesda to go into the game, shut it off for a day or whatever, to fix the inventory. Please put subheadings next time, because there is so much stuff to collect you don't understand. One thing I do like about inventory and trade with your companions is that my dog can hold a minigun. It's like twice his size. It's like bigger than me. As opposed to previous Bethesda constructions, the relevance of morality has never been of a pivotal concern within the narrative. However, in this situation, due to the volatility within the Commonwealth, because of the interactions and altercations between the various factions being the Institute, the Minutemen, the Railroad, and the Brotherhood of Steel, players are forced to draw the line as to what it means to be human when there are organics and synthetics existing in a universe. Fallout 4 is designed to test your moral compass, but with its disappointingly regarded karma system, it almost entirely discourages the players from playing characters who are cliched, immoral individuals. In spite of living and breathing in a wicked sphere, you are almost punished by your companions for not upholding a moral decency, when realistically, making ethically abiding decisions is rather difficult. I was once told that Piper didn't like my decision, even when she wasn't even there. Like, I'm not sure if it's a glitch, but I was miles away from Diamond City, and she liked what I said. Don't think you can hear me, Piper, but alright, whatever tickles your fancy. What happened to the freedom of RPG video games in allowing players to play criminally inclined or morally ambiguous characters? We're allowed to wander around in our undergarments and that's not offensive, but as soon as we make one bad decision, we're off to the doghouse. Okay, a protagonist with an entirely voiced character model is an interesting choice for Fallout, but from now on, I demand that in every Bethesda games, including Elder Scrolls, the principal character that the players control must be completely voiced. This is the first thing that players acknowledge during the character customization process, which is detailed and intuitive and provides a seemingly endless array of options for customization, although I do believe that they do need some more longer hairstyles for women, in my opinion. When it comes to the development of your character in relation to the length of the narrative, I was really disappointed with how basic and primitive the dialogue options have become in comparison to previous Fallout games and Bethesda games in general. I found that my wonderful character of Amelia had become nothing more than a superficial, two-dimensional cutout character with a complete lack of emotion. I mean, she's looking for her son. Where's the emotion? I do have to praise Courtney Taylor, the voice actress who also played Jack in the Mass Effect series, because her voice acting really excels here, and I knew it was her right away. But I don't believe we had to change the dialogue just because we were given a voice feature. Bethesda are no strangers to crafting ambitious and generous video games. For decades they have been providing video game enthusiasts with enriching environments to explore and invest themselves in. While Fallout 4 may have many pronounced concerns and technical issues such as failed AI, an awful inventory system, poor dialogue, and pointless base building, they pale in comparison to the splendor of a momentous and eventful narrative and interactive world. While the streamlined RPG elements may have disappointed many long-running fans of the Fallout series and of Bethesda as a company, the game is an expansive sandbox and provides an intoxicating experience for the players. And that is the reason why I'm going to give this game an 8.5 out of 10. I really did enjoy it, and if it is one thing that Bethesda can do right, it is creating a game with a sense of freedom that is almost limitless. And I do say almost. So thank you very much for watching my review. I really appreciate it and I hope you liked it. Please leave a like in the comments. Please leave a like if you did like it, and leave your comments below about what you thought of the game. If you have any constructive criticism for me, I would definitely appreciate it. Definitely share this video, I would really appreciate that, and subscribe if you haven't already. Awesome. And I will not be here next week, but I will have a video out. It'll just be a bit late. So, without further ado, I hope you have a lovely week, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye!